Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So thank you all for coming. We know there is a festival fatigue. Second time. Your first time? What is your name?
Second time.
Second time. So both of you here for the second time. Let's give them a Manihati welcome. Haribo! Anyone here for the first time? Second time? There is a group of devotees traveling with Maharaj. And we should welcome them. And so if you don't mind, to all, please raise all four of your arms. Let's welcome them with a big three Haribol together. Haribol! 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 Now finally, I would like to welcome Maharaj on behalf of New Panihati Dham and the management and the congregation and all the devotees. Most of you know Maharaj. I'll keep it very brief. Most of you know Maharaj. But some of you may not know him. He is a legend in ISKCON and an icon because of his service and dedication to Srila Prabhupada's mission. He has pioneered and extensively trained devotees to be leaders in ISKCON. If you look at the London Yatra, this is Maharaj's fingerprints everywhere. He spent, and if you look at the project in Hungary, so he has dedicated his life to really fulfilling the mission of Srila Prabhupada and setting a very, very great model for years and years for devotees in ISKCON who look for inspiration and guidance. And he's been here. This is the second time Maharaj has been here. The last time he came, he was mentioning, was in 1974. Wow. So that was very recent. I think it was before I was born. So, and Maharaj was traveling with devotees, distributing books, which is the real essence of our Sankirtan movement. And he came to New Panihati Dham. And he has just mentioned to me that Prabhupada's arrival address in Atlanta, the shortest, is about a minute. Almost 55, 60, 10, about a minute. And Maharaj has heard it so many times because it's such a deep expression of Prabhupada's affection for the devotees who are doing incredible preaching and the deities here. And so Maharaj was just sharing that with me. Personally, I've observed Maharaj for the last 43 years from a young child. Didn't have very close association, but the times that I've spent with him, it has been extremely rich and very personal. So it's been very sweet and I'm very grateful. Before I hand the mic over to Maharaj, please raise your hand if you do not have a cell phone. Okay, fantastic. So this is for you. Please look at your cell phone right now and put it on mute or silent. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I can translate it in 5 languages for you. Please put your phone on mute, and if you have any children, we don't have any. Okay. So, thank you. Let's welcome His Holiness Sivarama Swami Maharaj to New Panihati Dham. Together. Haribo! 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 going to request everyone to move forward. Move closer, because as time goes, people start to come. Move up a little bit more. Oh, I forgot to mention, he's one of the most prolific authors in ISKCON. And not just prolific author, but deep immersion into Krishna's pastimes, into Krishna's life. We have books laying all over the place. In our ashram next door, we have a shelf full of his books that devotees feel nourished every single day. So we'll give you more details after the program.
Chapter 1.
So I told you to keep it.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and
We got a problem. Krishna.
turn it around.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 1975, Prabhupada came, or 74?
75.
That was 74.
February 17th.
End of February, beginning of
Yes.
March.
I was in Dallas doing book distribution in Texas. We came down from Canada. That's it. It's a little warmer down here than it was up there. And Srila Prabhupada came here first, and then from here he came to Dallas, and we sort of got the news of Srila Prabhupada's ecstasy. News didn't travel as fast at that time, or at least recordings and things like that were, we had cassettes. I don't know if you know what a cassette is, but that's how we got to listen to things. And Mr. John Maharaj was there in Dallas at that time. Some Gurukul kids. It was a very I like inventing things. I definitely did invent proper microphone stand. Hare Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada, we were there, and I can't remember where Prabhupada went to from Dallas, but actually it was the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada. And I remember I had a very I should say, moving experience, sort of something that really shook me, and that was, we were all, if you know, the Dallas, the other building, the church building, and then in the back, there was Srila Prabhupada's quarters, later became Tamal Krishna Maharaj's quarters. I'm not sure what it's used for at present. And everybody was just swarming there. We wanted to, was there anything to hear about Srila Prabhupada? If someone was coming out and saying anything. At that time, Nitai was still with Prabhupada, not for long, but and there was the door, it was Prabhupada's. No, I'm just showing an example. There's the door, Prabhupada's, well, the bedroom was there, and Prabhupada's darshan was there, and Prabhupada came out, and of course everyone offered obeisances, and Prabhupada walked over here, and here's the toilet. You know, and I've been living in the temple already for a few years, and before that I was very much in awe of Srila Prabhupada, but Prabhupada goes to the bathroom and passes water. It was a mind blower. It never crossed my mind that gurus do things like that. I thought they were transcendental and above. So I wasn't the only one. There were some others there in the room who were like, Prabhupada went to the bathroom. Did you just see that? Yes, just because even Krishna goes to the bathroom, so why not Prabhupada?
Maharaj, can we change the mic stand so we don't want anything else to really...
Sure.
Please.
Since then, my research sort of my research sort of has shown that yes, such things do happen, that the spiritual master does go to the bathroom. It'll just keep going on. It's amazing that some things they just don't. It's like seatbelts. Seatbelts haven't changed in 60 years, and they're still the most uncomfortable things. And microphone stands just don't work. You can't hear back there.
Very soft, all right.
You can't. Can you hear? If I,
Yeah.
okay, I'll bring it closer.
Jaya
Parayacharanarinda Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Sisi Gaur ki jai, Baladesh Bala Maharaj ki jai, Sisi Radha Samsindhu ki jai, Radhika Gaur Premanand, all glories to Samadhi, all glories to Sri Guru Nansi Gauranga. Plan was to speak about Lord Nityananda's mercy, since we're going to have Anihati Festival next week. It's a shame that I won't be here. I have to move on. Every year I spend 6 months in Mayapur, and I spend 6 months in Hungary with a little visit to the UK for a few weeks. Aside from that, I don't really travel anywhere. And this year when we were in, went to India, we went on a bit of a parikrama outside of Sridhar Mayapur, Navadvip. And first we went to Kardaha, which was Lord Nityananda's place of residence for 23, 32, one of the two number of years. I think 32 years. Unfortunately, we pulled up into a parking lot. Devotee there greeting us and welcome to Lord Nityananda's house. I said, where's his house? He says, you're parking in. That was, unfortunately, the place, there's nothing there. There's no ruins anymore. It was just a big parking lot. But there were nearby a temple with deities, some of the deities that they installed. And then from there we went to Panihati. Srila Prabhupada gives this instruction to Maharaj, at least in a discussion, that we should have a temple. We must have a temple in Panihati. It is very important. And I used to Chaitanya Das. There is one disciple, he passed away, of His Holiness Bhakti Guru Swami Chaitanya Das, and he lived very, very close to the airport, Fulbagan. And so myself and the other devotees, when they arrived by plane, it was literally 10 minutes from the airport, and he had a very big house, 4 stories. In the beginning, all 4 stories were sort of available. He had a very big house, and he was a wonderful host. And so he used to actually organize the Panihati festival. And I've never been there because, middle of June in India, we'd already gone back to the west, wherever that was. But 1 truckload of mangoes, truckload of bananas, and so many people would come. So I used to hear from him firsthand. But yes, I went. He took me there the first time that I went, and then subsequent times as well. And who's been there to Panihati? Not many of you. But when you go, you should go. It's a wonderfully preserved place. It's maintained. Banyan tree is there. Ganga, Lord Nityananda's sitting place. and it's a very, I don't think I'm going to get far in the book, and it's a very significant pastime from many, many points of view, but Kaviraj Goswami describes it in connection with Raghunath Das Goswami's getting Lord Nityananda's mercy or blessings to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I guess I shouldn't say the pastime now because you're going to do that later on. But the one, Raghunath Das lived on the other side, Saptagram. Lived on the other side of Ganga, and he had by that time tried a few times to go and visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not visit him, to actually join Lord Chaitanya. But his parents were not in agreement to try and keep him back. They ultimately married him to a very, very beautiful girl. And on one occasion, when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I mean, he had, when Haridas Thakur was in Saptagram, he used to serve Haridas Thakur, massage his lotus feet. His family was sort of closely connected with Advaitacharya, so he saw Lord Chaitanya from the time that he was a little boy. But he was running away, being brought back, running away, being brought back. Lord Chaitanya told him, just don't be a fanatic, just wait, be patient, and it'll happen in due course of time. But when he decided, no, he's going to come here and get Lord Nityananda's mercy. And that was very significant in that when they first met and saw each other, then Lord Nityananda was told, well, he didn't even come close. He was just offered dandavats from a distance, and the devotee said, oh, there's Raghunath Das. So Lord Nityananda said, come here, you thief. He said, you're trying to steal my property. The real thing being is that you tried to approach Lord Chaitanya without my permission, without my blessings. And that's something that from this festival we need to really take to our heart. Srila Prabhupada came here and he was overwhelmed by that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda were here, that they came to Atlanta, they came to America, that they were going all over the world. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada wasn't seeing deities, he was seeing Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda offered his blessings and he told Raghunath Das, soon you will get the company of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, don't worry. So by Lord Nityananda's mercy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Raghunath. We worship Gaura throughout ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada established Gaura, Thakur Bhakti Vinod, and even you'll see Gaudiya Math temples have Gaur Gadadhar. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's the deities that they worship. But the significance of Gaura, especially, of course, here they're in the middle. And it's just like we're now going to be installing in 2 years from now, we'll be moving deities from Sridhar Mayapur, Panchatattva, and Radha Madhav, as well as installing so many acharyas into the Temple of Vedic Planetarium. Panchatattva will be in the middle. Parama Karuna Pavadvijana Nitai Bhagavajana. So there's no one more merciful. It's unfortunate that in India many people still don't really know who Lord Chaitanya is. When they know something of Lord Chaitanya, often they think he's some social reformer, but that he would be Radha Krishna Nayanya, that he would be Krishna himself, Krishna Swarupam, that is known to very few people. But they are the Chaitanya Bhagavat begins. How does the verse start? I can't read.
Ajanulambita bhujao kanakavadhato.
So Sankirtanaiva Pitaro. They are the Sankirtanaiva Pitaro. They are the fathers of the Sankirtan movement. Sankirtanaiva Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishvambaro Dujabaro Jugadharma Pado Vande Maha.
Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karunavataro.
Thank you. It's easy for you to memorize verses because you know the language. It's very hard to memorize verses of a language that you don't speak. So English is all right because you especially understand. But over the years it sort of rubs off. Sanskrit or Bengali. So they are Sankirtanaiva Pitaro. They are the fathers of the Sankirtan movement. And what you can get from other deities, you get from Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. What you can get with great, great difficulty from Radha and Krishna. Not easy to get the mercy of Radha and Krishna, but that same thing, Krishna Prema Pradayate, that you can get from Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, relatively easily and without the risk of committing offenses. Of course, there's always some risk, but they are very, very merciful. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful, but he's most merciful when he's with Lord Nityananda, because Lord Nityananda is even more merciful. And when devotees, before they go on the altar, they offer prayers, and it's Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda with spiritual masters sitting at their feet. So when Srila Prabhupada is sitting at the feet, then that's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just really sort of lets it flow. This picture is a replica of the picture in Bhaktivedanta Manor. Needs a little restoration, but I thought I'd mentioned it, but I forgot it earlier. Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Manor was one of the places Srila Prabhupada spent the most time at. And when Srila Prabhupada came, that picture was on the wall, but Prabhupada came, took darshan, went back, sat on his vyasasana like that, and he didn't look until the Tempura said, Srila Prabhupada, look, we have this picture of you. And I mean, it's a big picture, a little uncomfortable sitting with my back to Prabhupada like this, but it's a big picture on the wall. Prabhupada wouldn't look at it. Prabhupada was so shy, he just couldn't look at his picture. So he just sort of like out of the corner of his eye, he looked, and didn't say anything, that was it. Yes, it's real presence, Srila Prabhupada's presence there. So Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda are very, very merciful, and Ore Kabinitai Chan Karuna Hoide Shamsara Bahasrana More Tucha. So if we get Lord Nityananda's mercy, means material existence ceases. And the way to get Lord Nityananda's mercy is to really make known the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course we're preaching about Krishna, but when Lord Chaitanya told Lord Nityananda in Puri, okay, you go back to Bengal and you preach. So he did, but Lord Nityananda preached about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu more than he did about Lord Krishna. And Chaitanya Bhagavat is full of wonderful pastimes that take place. So, to become the object, there's a picture over there. Is that the original?
All the other ones are originals.
Huh?
All these are originals.
But not the Parihati one.
That was painted by one devotee, Charadeshna Prabhu. He was a publisher from Atlanta, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
So he painted that one. He left this work.
So we need mercy. There is, on one side, very often people say, please give me your mercy, please give me your blessings. I always ask them, well, what is it that you're talking about? They're not necessarily clear, you just touch somebody's head and something miraculous is going to happen. Just the type of thing Prabhupada spoke against, that you don't get mercy like that. And mercy generally means that you receive instructions, transcendental instructions about Krishna consciousness, about sadhana bhakti, and Krishna prema pradayate. Lord Chaitanya has come to give us Krishna prema, and the act of kindness, in other words, what impels someone to bestow goodwill upon somebody else, that is their compassion, the compassion which is within their heart. Why is Lord Nityananda more compassionate than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? One specific reason is that Lord Nityananda was generally in this mood of being an avadhuta, and that he was overwhelmed by love of God, so he was sort of intoxicated. And now, if you know, intoxicated people generally don't really distinguish things very well, and so they would, they can easily just give something away. I guess the example I can use is when we used to do Sankirtan, we used to do book distribution not far away in Chicago airport. I always dreamed of coming to Atlanta, but never really quite made it because this was considered to be the best design. It was specifically designed by Krishna for book distribution. But often, intoxicated people came through. In those years, there were no budget airlines. People who flew, they were well dressed. It was like a prestige thing. You had money. It cost you money to fly. And of course, very often people were intoxicated. And that was when people were intoxicated. And then obviously, they don't easily tell the difference between a $5 or a $20 bill. Just everything's swimming in front of them. And he said, can you give that much? Oh, why not? Why not? So when someone's intoxicated, they're like, easygoing, or they're very aggressive. Stay clear of those people. So but Lord Nityananda is not aggressive, so he just take it. Whether someone's qualified, unqualified, and this was one of the first books. Before Chaitanya Charitamrita came out, Srila Prabhupada had printed Adilila chapter 7 here into a separate book, which is A4 format. It was a big book, and we distributed it. I mean, it's full of philosophy, but then it's also full of the Panchatattva, how they just break open the storehouse of love of God and they distribute it. And ultimately, Lord Nityananda's mercy is to give that Krishna Prema as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does. And often, we ask the question, well, where is it? Where's the Prema? So when Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda were present, by their glance, by their touch, by their words, by their beauty, they inspired, they gave Krishna consciousness. They gave prema. Usually, Kaviraj Goswami seems to say that they gave them bhava bhakti, from which, of course, is the seed of prema, and from where they would actually continue on to cultivate and develop that. And people just immediately, just by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or, of course, one real example that points out the difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda is the Leela with Jagai and Maharaj. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to kill them, but Lord Nityananda said, no, you have to just kill the impurities within their heart, and the ultimate means to purify the heart is by this love for Krishna. Bhagavatam Sukadeva Goswami says, Vikriditam Rajavatru Viridam Sa Vishnu Shradamrita Shriniya Tativarnati Bhakti Paramlab Pratilabhya Kama Ridroga Kama Asula Parinelti Acharena Dhira. That just by hearing about Krishna's pastimes, one acquires prema, and prema purifies everything from the heart. Now, the commentary to that, our Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's very emphatic. He says, don't think that you have to purify the heart first and then get prema. He says here, the verse says, prema comes first and then wipes up Ridroga Kama. Ridroga Ashu, very quickly. So, of course, the type of karma that's being talked about here is actually residual reactions from having committed some offenses in the execution of devotional service. But we see that at that time, throughout both biographies, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, that so freely giving this love of God, and with that love of God, all inauspicious things were wiped out from the heart. And so Jagai and Madai, similarly, Lord Chaitanya did as Lord Nityananda wanted. So it's very important. Why? Well, obviously they're bound together by love, but he's the old elder brother. So you listen to your elder brother. So same thing that Balaram Vaidonitai. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, and Balaram is, and Vaidyananda is Balaram. So older brother says something in, well, it's not Vedic culture, it's spiritual culture. You listen to your older brothers in Krishna, generally listen to Balaram. And so Lord Chaitanya followed Balaram's, Lord Nityananda's instruction. Well, now we're here, 500 years later, Krishna Prema Pradayate. Are we getting Krishna Prema? Are we getting that mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda? So of course the answer is yes, because Rupa Goswami says we're getting it, so we're getting it. Where is it? So the example that's given is that, there's two ways that you can invite someone for lunch. One is you have them come and the feast is already cooked and you just sit them down and feed them. And the other, Srila Prabhupada would also give that example. The other is that someone comes to your home, especially if it's a very strict Brahmin, and you give him all the ingredients and he cooks it and puts it together. So you may have noticed we got the ingredients. We have the holy name, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravana, etc. We have all the ingredients. Now you have to put them together and cook it yourself. So don't take offense at the fact that we've got to put it together, but it's there. If you put those ingredients together, then it will come. So Bhagavatam says, Kim va parerishvaraha sadyaridya varudyate atakritivish shushubish takshana. You don't need anything else. Krishna Prema will come by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. It will come by chanting Hare Krishna. Do all of these things. And especially if we dedicate ourselves to the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That we actually take responsibility, not just for eating the feast ourselves, but for actually giving the recipe. Now you've got two kinds of cooks. One, someone who's never going to give you the recipe for their special preparation. And the other is that yes, that's the mood of the Gosta Nandi. Maybe the Bhajana Nandi sort of keeps it to themselves, but Vaishnavas don't keep that recipe. We, as we've learned, we distribute that recipe to others, and they can distribute to others because we're living in a terrible time. I mean, Kali Yuga is bad. It's not even an issue of Western world. Srila Prabhupada would often refer to the West. We used to talk about the West. But the West, East, India, America, it's all the same. The changes that have come about since we first went to India are unbelievable. No McDonald's, no alcohol shops, at least not going down any road, highway. It's really deplorable. Srila Prabhupada had so much hope for India and always considered that people of Indian origin were already Krishna conscious. You just had to scratch the surface and it came out. That's a fact. Krishna consciousness is spreading more in India than anywhere else. But to what extent? How seriously are people taking us? Meat eating is skyrocketing biggest leather exporter in the world. And we were going to India, I mean, the traffic was really slow, but it was slow because of cows. Cows were everywhere. Now cows are rare. Whether it was downtown Calcutta, Delhi, Mumbai, you name it, they were cows, bulls, they were wandering everywhere. Where are they now? So I want to mention where they are, but you know where they are. It's very rare nowadays to see them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda are extremely merciful. What we can say is, of course, Lord Nityananda is himself also Krishna Prema Pradayate, but it's by his grace that you get Lord Chaitanya's mercy, and by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy that we receive what is this Krishna Prema. So I was going to read, the first 14 verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita are the seed verses. The whole book is based on those 14 verses, and the author goes through chapter by chapter describing those verses in detail. He starts off with the verses that glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all right, I was asking, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What is it that he's giving? Radha Krishna Pranavi Priti Aladini Shakti Rasma Ekatmana Api Bhuvi Purate Bhavitam Vituto Chaitanya Prakatamadunata Dvaitam Chaitamaptam Radha Bhavajuti Subhalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. And the previous verse is the verse that I wanted to actually refer to. Anarpitam Charim Chirat, this is written by Rupa Goswami. You know the verse? Mataji? You know. Very good. Anarpitam Charim Chirat Karinava Tirna Kalo Sama Arparitam Anuto Jalarasam Sabhakti Shriyam. A lot of people here know these verses. Haripurata Sundara Jyoti Kadamba Sandipita Sadaridaya Kandare Spuratu Pa Sachinandana. So, Anutojvala Rasam. What does Krishna Prema mean? Then, here is the Prabhupada's translation. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachadevi, be transcendentally situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. This is what Lord Chaitanya came to give, and this is what we have the opportunity to take. So that's why Srila Prabhupada, in a purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, will say that generally the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are in the mood of Madhurya Ras, the conjugal mellow. You shouldn't think that we're going to be in the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Srimati Radharani. Radha Bhavajuti Sivarama, Nomi Krishna Swarupam, Radha Bhavajuti. But we're meant to cultivate another bhava, and when we study, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita very carefully, it becomes very clear what that Madhurya bhava is all about. We should know about it, and ultimately that service to Radha and Krishna. What are the names of deities? Radha, Madan, Mohan. The service to Radha, Madan, Mohan is the result result of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda's mercy. We worship them both in the mood of servitors, as servants, bas. There's no other rasa with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We worship them as Nitya Krishna Das, as servants of Lord Chaitanya. And because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, you could say, Radha Krishna, technically he's Krishna in the mood of Radharani. But when someone really identifies with somebody else's mood, almost, you see a very good actor. So when he's acting and playing a particular role, you're not thinking of the actor, you're thinking of the role that he's playing. So it's, who knows, I don't know, whatever actors are there nowadays, and they're playing some role, so that's who you think they are. So when Krishna is trying to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani and is fully absorbed in that mood, then you could say that he's also Radha's Krishna, but Radha at the same time. So that Lord Chaitanya will reveal, just like he revealed to Ramananda Roy. And all this will happen even more easier by the mercy of Gaur Nitai. Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Surida Vishwasakori. And our Gaudiya Acharyas always recommend just worship Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai. So how do we worship Chaitanya Nitai? Chant Hare Krishna, follow our basic principles, take prasadam and dance. Very easy. Srila Prabhupada would say, it's very easy, but for you, putting your hands up in the air is difficult. Yes, dancing, chanting, taking prasadam, this is such a easy movement. And as Srila Prabhupada has said, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda are very, very kind. And he said, Krishna is also very kind. Just in case Krishna doesn't get offended, Krishna is also very kind. But Lord Chaitanya is, Lord Nityananda is extraordinary kind. And because Lord Nityananda is always intoxicated with this love of God, therefore, if you approach him like you approach the intoxicated person, then what do you want? Yeah, take it. So Narottam Das Thakur says, you can't enter into this rasa dance without the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Rakuranga Charanira Pasha. You keep me in the shelter of your lotus feet. What does really that mean? I mean, you can take it directly, but literally, but very often when we talk about the dust of Krishna's lotus feet and so on, keep you in the shelter of your lotus feet. Who's at Lord Nityananda's lotus feet? His devotees. So keep me in the shelter of the association of your devotees. So Srila Prabhupada was here, he saw Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. Our business is to somehow or another purify our hearts, so we're not seeing deities, but we're seeing here is, these are not forms that represent Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. They're directly Supreme Personality of Godhead in his most munificent incarnation, what no other incarnation has ever given. So many incarnations. Varahan, Shringa, Kurma, this one, that one, are also wonderful in their own ways. They're unique. Each one has a unique pastime. They have their own devotees, but no one gives as freely, as easily as these two brothers do. So, Bhaja Bhaja Bhaja, Chaitanya Nitya. This is the advice, my dear brothers. You just worship Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and you'll get everything in one letter. One letter Prabhupada says, if you just have a picture of Panchatattva, and you keep them in a drawer, and you take them out, and you chant Hare Krishna to them, and then you put them back in the drawer. You'll go back to God. Keep a picture of Panchatattva in your drawer. All right, thank you all very much. I don't know if you know, but my godbrother, Dhananjaya Prabhu, one of the early devotees in the UK, so he lived in Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada gave him the service of that he should be making clothes and everything for devotees, temples all over the world. But Srila Prabhupada told him, he said, one of the things he told me, he says, I want you to get little deities of Gaurnitai. You put them in a box, and you have instructions on the box. These are magic dolls. Every day you wave a stick of incense to them, and you take this and you sell them on the streets like we sell books to anybody. So whether they're non-devotees, devotees, meat eaters, anybody, it doesn't matter. Just put them out on a shelf and offer a stick of incense, and even if they don't offer a stick of incense, in a due course of time, Gaurnitai will exert their mercy. So just imagine, Prabhupada gave this empowerment that, deities, here are deities, this is how you worship deities, that he's saying, take those same deities and just give it to anybody. And they will work their magic. Hare Krishna. Yeah, once I sit down. No, I have to sit on.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Sivarama Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So just an invitation to invite Shubham. She wanted to sponsor the feast for the devotees, so please come and perform the arati. I think that's all you have, one person. Please come. And please bring your family with you if you would like. It'll be nice for them to support you. So Maharaj is going to lead us through an ecstatic kirtan. Who's ready for this?
Haribol!
Those of you who missed the sadhu sangha, the sadhus have come here to give you sangha. And Prabhu, do you have the books? Okay. So we also have, you have the full Maharaj's books. Prabhu, would you like to make the announcement? Because I'm not sure what books you brought. Yes, so that before they leave, they get their hands on those books, because they're not readily available, so they have to catch you before they leave. If you don't mind, just... So please pay attention, devotees.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Ananda Chaitanya Das. Actually, I was here last year for the Panihati festival. So some of you may have seen us. We had a stall outside. We're here just touring and sharing some of the books which have been authored by Srila Sivarama Swami Maharaj. So the first is a beautiful set called Navaraj Mahima. There's 600 amazing, beautiful pastimes of Krishna based on the writings of the Acharyas. Many of these pastimes you will never have heard before. So they're not all from the Bhagavatam. And it's based on parikram, so it really aids the parikram process. The second set of books is called the Krishna in Vrindavan series. This is based on the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The first 39 chapters is a section which deals with Vrindavan. So these books really help us, alongside the writings of the Acharyas, really help us to go much deeper into this section of the 10th canto. Anyway, I encourage everyone to come and take a look. Once you see the books, I'll be there and I can introduce you all. It's two beautiful sets of books just outside during Prashadam. They'll be available. We'll set up a stall, and they're exquisite, very, very beautiful, very edifying to the heart and soul. So please to come and take a look. Thank you. And Maharaj will be there to sign the books. Very rare opportunity. Maharaj has been here for the US for 22 years. And I'll be back. We'll be back in 22 years. We very much hope. So it's a very rare opportunity for you to get your books signed. Also, that wasn't available last year. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada ki.
It's so loud. We'll make it a little quieter. At least this one's voice. It's mostly pure organic bliss. What's her name?
Yes, at bars. My name is Ram Das, your humble servant.
Prabhupada's disciple.
First edition.
raise both your hands. Raise both your hands. If you can hear me, raise your hands. 4 arms. All 4 arms. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Sivarama Swami Maharaj ki. Sivarama Swami Maharaj ki. Sivarama Swami Maharaj ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. We're just gonna, this birthday, she's here, Subham. She got the special blessings where everybody got to chant and dance in spiritual ecstasy that His Holiness Sivarama Maharaj has been traveling with. Spiritual ecstasy and sharing it very wholeheartedly. So this is